Welcome back to ZE Coins today. We're diving deep into the story of the 1973 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but could potentially be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, you won't want to miss this one. We're talking about history, minting details, rare errors, and current market prices for this iconic piece of American currency. So grab your magnifying glass and let's uncover the real value behind the 1973 quarter. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin, its popularity ensured it became a permanent fixture of American coinage. By 1973, the Washington quarter had already seen several changes, most notably the removal of silver from the coin's composition in 1965. What makes the 1973 quarter stand out? On the surface, it looks like your standard clad quarter, a copper-nickel composition with a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the heraldic eagle design on the reverse. No special commemorative design, no silver, but that's where things start to get interesting. In 1973, quarters were minted at three facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Here's how the numbers break down. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 346 million quarters. These coins do not carry a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced about 232 million coins, and you'll recognize them by the small d mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail. San Francisco, as usual, minted proof coins for collectors, about 2.7 million of them. These coins are of significantly higher quality and carry an S mint mark. While those numbers are high, which generally means lower collector value, the story doesn't end there. What really gets collectors excited are condition, grading, and error varieties. Let's talk errors, the juicy part for collectors. Some 1973 quarters have been found with striking errors that drastically increase their value. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike. These occur when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, these coins can sell for anywhere between $50 to several $100s. Next, we have double die obverse and reverses. These are coins where the design has been accidentally stamped twice, causing a noticeable doubling effect on the letters or images. If you have a 1973 quarter where the word Liberty or I in God We Trust looks blurred or doubled under magnification, you may be looking at a double die, and those can sell for $100 or more, depending on condition. Another interesting error is the clipped planchet. These coins are missing a portion of the edge due to a mistake during the blanking process. A clipped planchet from 1973 in good shape can easily fetch between $50 to $200. Then there are transitional planchet errors, incredibly rare instances where a quarter might have been mistakenly struck on a leftover silver planchet from previous years or even on foreign coin blanks. While no confirmed examples from 1973 have been widely reported, it's something to watch for if your coin looks or feels unusual. Like with any coin, condition is everything. A 1973 quarter straight out of circulation is probably only worth face value. But if you've got a coin that's in mint state condition, that means it shows no signs of wear and still has full mint luster. The value increases dramatically. According to the major grading services like PCGS and NGC, a 1973 quarter in MS65 condition from the Philadelphia or Denver mints can fetch between $10 to $25. Not bad for a 25-cent coin, but the real money lies in the highest graded specimens. MS67 examples have sold at auction for as much as $600 to $900, especially if they have sharp details and brilliant eye appeal. Proof coins from San Francisco can be worth even more, particularly if they have cameo or deep cameo contrast. So, before you spend that old quarter or toss it in a jar, take a closer look. If it's uncirculated, has a mint error, or is in pristine condition, you could be holding something worth far more than its face value. Let's talk about the current market. As of 2025, interest in numismatics has seen a significant resurgence. With the rise of online coin auctions, YouTube channels like this one, and social media collector groups, the demand for high-grade and error coins has never been stronger. Prices for rare quarters, including error varieties from 1973, have gone up. MS-66 and MS-67 graded coins are hot commodities, often sold within days of listing. PCGS and NGC populations for MS-67 coins are still relatively low, making them highly collectible. Proof coins with deep cameo contrast from San Francisco are also in high demand. While a standard proof might bring $5 to $10, a PR69 deep cameo can command $30 to $50, and a perfect PR70 example can go for over $100 or more. That if you're looking to buy, be cautious and buy from reputable dealers. If you're selling, consider having your coin graded first to maximize its value. How can you tell if you've got one of the valuable ones? Here are a few tips. First, check the mint mark. If it's from Denver or San Francisco, there's already a small premium in high grades. Next, examine the coin under magnification. Look for doubling in the text, off-center designs, or missing pieces of the edge. Check for luster and strike quality. A well-struck coin with full detail on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers is more likely to receive a high grade. And finally, if you suspect it's something rare, submit it to a grading service. A professional opinion can be the difference between a $1 coin and a $1,000 coin. In conclusion, while the 1973 Washington quarter might not be the rarest coin ever minted, certain examples are definitely worth looking out for. Whether it's a high-grade mint stick, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising coins in modern American numismatics, the 1982 P. Washington quarter. You might think this is just a regular pocket change coin. But hang on, because this coin, struck during a turning point in U.S. mint history, has become one of the most collectible quarters out there. Some of these quarters have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And yes, you might just have one in your pocket or coin jar right now. Let's break it all down. Historical background. 1 o'clock. First, let's rewind to 1982. The United States was going through a serious recession. The economy was sluggish, unemployment was high, and inflation was biting hard. As a result, the U.S. Mint had to make some tough decisions, especially about its production budget. That year, they stopped producing official mint sets for collectors, which meant fewer high-quality uncirculated coins made it into the hands of the public. And that, my friends, is where things get interesting. Production challenges. 210. Because mint sets weren't made that year, collectors had to rely on coins from general circulation or bankrolls to build their collections. The quality control at the mint, already strained by budget cuts and aging equipment, was not what it used to be. As a result, many of the 1982 coins, including the Washington quarter, came out with weaker strikes, missing details, and even serious mint errors. Combine that with the absence of mint sets, and you have a recipe for rarity. The 1982 P quarter, 3 o'clock. Let's zoom in on the coin we're focusing on today, the 1982 Washington quarter struck at the Philadelphia Mint. These coins carry a small P mint mark on the obverse, just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. Over 500 million were minted, so at first glance, it may not sound rare. But here's where things get exciting. Many of these coins were poorly struck, few survived in high grade, and some came out with significant mint errors. The no mint mark confusion. 4 o'clock. Quick side note. In 1982, Philadelphia had just started using a P mint mark on the quarter. Before 1980, Philadelphia coins didn't have a mint mark at all. So if you have a 1982 quarter with no mint mark, double-check it, because that might not be a Philadelphia strike. But more likely, it's a worn-down P, or possibly an error coin. Always examine closely. Varieties and mint errors. 445. There are a few known varieties and errors from the 1982 P quarters that make them extremely valuable. Here are some of the top ones. The double die reverse. Some 1982 P quarters show strong doubling on the reverse, particularly in the word United and quarter dollar. These can fetch a few $100s depending on condition. Off-center strikes. Coins that were struck off-center, where part of the design is missing or shifted, can sell for $100 to $300 or more depending on severity and how much of the date is visible. Clip planchets. These are quarters that were struck on planchets that had a part of the metal clipped off. These can sell for between $50 and $150. Weak strike or die deterioration. While these are more common, very weakly struck 1982 P quarters that are still in mint condition can attract premiums from variety collectors, broad strikes, and missing ridges. If the coin is missing its reeded edges or shows a broader, flat rim, It might have been struck without the collar die. These can be worth $75 to $200. High-grade examples, 630. Now, let's talk about condition. Because most 1982 P quarters were poorly struck and ended up in circulation, finding one in MS65 or better condition is surprisingly rare. In fact, PCGS and NGC, two of the most respected grading services, have graded fewer than a few thousand in mint state grades. And here's the kicker. MS67 examples can sell for over $1,000. In March 2021, a 1982 P quarter graded MS68 sold at auction for $10,200. Yes, over $10,000 for a quarter that originally cost 25 cents. That's the power of rarity and condition combined. How to identify valuable 1982 P quarters, 730. So now you're wondering, how can I tell if my 1982 P quarter is valuable? Here's what to look for. Check the date and mint mark. You want 1982 with a visible P mint mark. Examine the strike. Strong details in George Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and sharp lettering are a good sign. Look for errors. Doubling, missing details, or unusual shapes can add huge premiums. Check for luster. A coin with mint luster and no signs of wear is what you're aiming for. That's what gets MS grades. Consider grading. If you believe you have a mint state coin or a rare variety, sending it to PCGS or NGC might be worth it. Current market value, $845. Let's talk market value as of right now. Prices can fluctuate based on demand and auction results, but here's a general guideline. Circulated 1982 P quarters, typically worth face value to $1, mint state MS63. Around $10 to $25, MS65. $50 to $125, MS66. $150 to $400, MS67 and above. $800 to $2,000 or more depending on eye appeal, error coins. $50 to $500 depending on type, rare varieties like the doubled die. $100 to several $100. Closing thoughts. 10 o'clock. So there you have it, the 1982 P Washington quarter. A coin born during a time of economic difficulty, overlooked for decades, but now shining as a hidden gem in American coin collecting. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, this is one coin to keep your eyes open for. Check your change, dig through your old coin rolls, and look carefully. You never know when a little piece of 1982 history might pop up and possibly turn into a small fortune. We dive deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting. If you're passionate about rare finds, hidden gems in your pocket change, or just love American coin history, you're in the right place. Today, we're zooming in on a very specific yet underrated coin, the 1990 P Washington quarter dollar. You might think this is just another quarter in circulation, but some of these coins are worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, certain versions have fetched hundreds, even thousands, of dollars depending on condition and rarity. Stick around because we'll break down everything you need to know, the history behind the coin, what makes certain 1990 P quarters valuable, the different varieties and errors to look out for, and of course, what these coins are worth today on the open market. Historical context. Let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, commemorating the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and was only supposed to be a one-year commemorative issue. But due to its popularity, it became the standard quarter going forward. Fast forward to 1990. By this time, the Washington quarter had been a staple of American coinage for nearly 60 years. The obverse still featured the iconic bust of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan, and the reverse depicted the heraldic eagle, a design that lasted until 1998 before the launch of the 50-state quarters program. Now here's the thing. 1990 was not a particularly low mintage year. In fact, over 613 million Washington quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1990 alone. That's a massive number. But even in such a large mintage, there are key features and rare errors that make some 1990 P quarters worth a fortune. The varieties and mint ORS. Now, let's talk about what separates the valuable 1990 P quarters from the ordinary ones. First off, the P mint mark signifies that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike earlier years, The P mint mark was consistently used on all denominations starting in the 1980s. So while the mint mark itself isn't rare, what's interesting are the errors and varieties that occurred in the minting process. One of the most famous and sought-after errors for the 1990 P quarter is the off-center strike. In this error, the coin wasn't properly centered on the die when it was struck, causing the design to appear shifted. Depending on how far off the strike is, say 10%, 50%, or even more, these coins can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Another valuable error is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the same die in slightly different positions. This creates a doubling effect on the letters or numbers, most often visible in the words, "In God We Trust," or the date, 1990. Collectors love this kind of anomaly, and prices can range from $100 to over $500 depending on the severity and coin grade. You should also be on the lookout for clipped planchet errors. This occurs when part of the coin is missing due to an improperly cut blank before striking. These coins are visually striking and can be worth around $75 to $150. One more subtle but valuable error is the weak strike. On some 1990 P quarters, the image and inscriptions appear faint due to low pressure during the striking process. Though not always worth big bucks, collectors often pay premiums for these coins, especially in higher grades. Grading and now, let's move into coin grading and value. As with any coin, the condition plays a huge role in determining its market worth. Circulated 1990 P quarters, the ones you find in your change, are usually only worth face value unless they feature one of the errors we just mentioned. But once you start getting into uncirculated or mint state coins, that's where the value can go up significantly. A 1990 P Washington quarter graded MS65 by a third-party service like PCGS or NGC can fetch around $10 to $25. MS66 examples may go for $40 to $60. Once you hit MS67 territory, you're talking about coins that can be worth over $100. These are top-quality examples with perfect surfaces, full strike, and absolutely no signs of wear. In fact, one 1990 P quarter graded MS67 Plus by PCGS sold at auction for over $1,000. That's 1,000 times its face value. Not bad for a coin you might have overlooked in your pocket. The market trends of this year. The coin market has remained strong, especially for high-grade modern coins and rare mint errors. The 1990 P quarter has seen steady interest from collectors, especially as more people begin to search their pocket change for hidden treasures. Online platforms like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Great Collections regularly feature 1990 P quarters, and prices tend to be higher for verified errors or third-party graded specimens. That being said, the best time to check your coins is now. Because the more time passes, the harder it becomes to find high-quality 1990 P quarters still in circulation that wrap up. So there you have it. The 1990 P Washington quarter may seem ordinary, but don't underestimate it. Whether it's a double die, off-center strike, or a coin in pristine mint state, there's potential value hiding in this common-looking piece of currency. Take a few minutes today to dig through your change, check your old coin jars, or even ask your friends and family if they've got spare quarters. You never know. You just might find one of these hidden treasures. We're diving deep into the world of coins, and not just any coin, but the often overlooked and surprisingly valuable 1993 P Washington quarter dollar. That's right. What looks like just another quarter in your change jar might actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So before you toss it in a vending machine, listen up, because this one coin could be hiding a small fortune. Let's rewind for a moment. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. It was originally introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Over the years, the design has remained relatively consistent, with Washington's bust on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, at least until the State Quarters series started in 1999. But our focus today is a very specific year, 1993. Now you might be wondering, what's so special about a 1993 quarter? Let's break it down. In 1993, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 639 million quarters bearing the P Mint mark. That's a lot. On the surface, that sounds like a common coin. But as any serious collector knows, rarity isn't always about mintage alone. It's about condition. It's about errors. It's about demand. And the 1993 P quarter checks several boxes that can drive value way up. First, let's talk about high-grade examples. Most coins from circulation have scratches, nicks, or dull luster. But if you happen to find a 1993 P Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS66 or above by PCGS or NGC, you're looking at a coin that could fetch anywhere from $50 to $300. And that's just for being in top shape. Now, step it up to MS67, and the price jumps even higher. In fact, an MS67 specimen of the 1993 P quarter sold for nearly $1,000 at auction. Why? Because only a handful of examples have been certified at that level. And in the world of coin grading, that scarcity equals serious money. But the real excitement comes when we get into the world of errors and varieties. Let's take a look at some known 1993 P quarter errors that have caught the attention of collectors. Point one of the most talked about is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting, resulting in part of the design missing or shifted. Depending on how extreme the error is, values can range from $50 to several $100s. Then you have double die errors. These are rare but real, and when present, they can multiply the value of a coin significantly. We're talking about doubling in the lettering, date, or even Washington's profile. These quarters can easily command prices over $500 if certified and confirmed. Another intriguing error is the clipped planchet, where part of the coin's edge is actually missing due to a mistake during the cutting of the metal blanks. Again, depending on severity and condition, you could be looking at a $100 to $300 coin. Now, let's talk about one of the most elusive yet valuable types, the full strike, satin-like finish varieties. Some 1993 P quarters came out with exceptionally sharp details and unusual luster. These may have been the result of early die strikes or accidental use of proof dies. If you come across a 1993 P quarter that looks unusually crisp and flashy, it might be worth having it professionally graded. So how do you know if your 1993 P quarter is valuable? First, check for that P mint mark located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Next, look at the condition. Is it shiny and free from scratches or wear? That's your first clue. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone's macro camera to check for doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual patterns around the edges. If you think you've got something special, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate the coin and assign it a grade, which can dramatically impact its value. Let's talk market value. As of now, a common 1993 P quarter in circulated condition is worth its face value, 25 cents. But in mint condition, values start rising fast. MS65 examples sell for around $20 to $30. MS66, up to $100. MS67, that's where the bidding wars start, upwards of $500 to $1,000. And errors? Depending on type and severity, they range from $50 to over $1,500. Yes, you heard that right. One tiny error could turn your pocket change into a payday. Before we wrap up, here's the key takeaway. The 1993 P Washington quarter is a sleeper hit in the coin world. While it's not rare in terms of production numbers, the right condition, the right error, or the right grade can turn this common coin into a collector's dream. The next time you empty your pockets, don't overlook the quarters. Because you never know when you might be holding a hidden gem from 1993. We're diving into the hidden treasure of your pocket change, the 1995 D Washington quarter dollar. You heard that right. A coin that most of us walked past or spent on a candy bar could actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In this video, we're going to talk about the history, mintage, errors, and most importantly, the current market value of the 1995 Denver Mint quarter. You don't want to miss this. Let's start with a bit of context. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of our first president, George Washington. It was supposed to be a one-year commemorative coin, but it became so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. Fast forward to 1995, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins annually. But here's the twist. Not all quarters are created equal. Some coins struck in 1995 at the Denver Mint ended up with rare errors or were preserved in pristine condition, making them incredibly valuable to collectors today. In 1995, the Denver Mint produced approximately 1.1 billion Washington quarters. That's billion with a B. Now, you might be thinking, how could something so common be worth big money? The answer lies in three things: condition, rarity, and errors. Most of the 1995 D quarters went straight into circulation. They were spent, scratched, tossed into jars, and forgotten. Finding one in mint state condition, especially above MS65, is far less common than you'd think. That's where the value comes in. When it comes to coins, grading is everything. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless coin. A 1995 D quarter in average circulated condition is worth only its face value, 25 cents. But if you come across one that has never been circulated, looks sharp, and has full luster, you're looking at a completely different ballgame. Let's talk money. A 1995 D Washington quarter graded MS66 by PCGS or NGC can fetch anywhere from $40 to $100. Move up to MS67, and you're looking at several $100s. And here's the kicker. In 2019, a 1995 D quarter in pristine MS68 condition sold for over $1,200 at auction. Yes, over $1,000 for a single quarter. That's why checking your pocket change is no joke. Now let's get into the really exciting stuff: error coins. Some of the most valuable 1995 D quarters are those with mint errors. Here are a few to look out for. First, double die obverse or reverse errors. While not as famous in 1995 as the 1995 P. Lincoln cent, some quarters still feature doubling on the lettering or date. These are extremely rare and highly sought after. Second, off-center strikes. If your quarter looks like it was stamped off the edge, that could be worth big bucks, especially if the date is still visible. Third, clipped planchet errors. That's when the coin is missing a curved section due to a minting mishap. A clean clipped planchet with full details and date can be worth $100 or more. Another big one to watch for is struck-through grease errors. These are coins that were struck while the dies were clogged with grease or debris, resulting in missing or blurry details. Depending on severity and condition, collectors are often willing to pay a premium. So how do you find one of these gems? Start by grabbing a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and go through your loose change. Focus on the following details: sharpness of strike, any unusual doubling, off-center images, or odd shapes. If a coin stands out, it's worth researching or getting professionally graded. Consider sending potentially valuable quarters to a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin not only increases value but also gives buyers confidence if you ever decide to sell. As of 2025, coin collecting is more popular than ever, and modern era coins are seeing rising interest from both new and experienced collectors. While many focus on silver or pre-1964 coins, there's a growing community of collectors obsessed with high-grade and error quarters from the 1990s. Marketplaces like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Great Collections regularly list these coins, and the prices are climbing. A well-preserved or rare error 1995 D quarter can easily fetch a few $100s or more depending on demand. Here are some final tips before you go. Keep an eye on your change, especially from banks and coin rolls. Visit local coin shows to learn and compare. And if you think you found something special, don't rush to sell. Do your research and consult an expert. The 1995 D Washington quarter might not seem like much at first glance, but with the right error, grade, or condition, it could be a jackpot hiding in plain sight. So the next time you get change back at the store, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small fortune in your hand. We are diving deep into the 2019 D Washington quarter dollar coins, minted in Denver, and we'll uncover why some of them are worth way more than face value. Could you be holding a small fortune in your pocket change? Let's find out. First, a quick background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. Originally designed to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, it has gone through several changes over the years, including the iconic 50-state quarters program, the America the Beautiful series, and in recent years, special editions honoring historical figures and locations. In 2019, the United States Mint released 5 new designs as part of the America the Beautiful quarters program. These include Lowell National Historical Park in Massachusetts, American Memorial Park in the Northern Mariana Islands, War in the Pacific National Historical Park in Guam, San Antonio Missions National Historical Park in Texas, and Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness in Idaho. Each of these quarters was minted in Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver. Our focus today is the 2019 D series, those minted in Denver, Colorado. And here's where things get interesting. While most of these coins are circulating at face value, certain errors, varieties, and conditions can dramatically increase their worth. Let's begin with the 2019 D Lowell quarter. This coin features a woman working at a power loom to represent the industrial history of Lowell, Massachusetts. Some 2019 D Lowell quarters have been found with double die errors, specifically doubling in the inscriptions or details in the loom. These coins, in mint state condition, have sold for anywhere from $50 to over $200 depending on grading and demand. Next up is the 2019 D American Memorial Park quarter. This coin honors the sacrifices made by the people of the Northern Mariana Islands during World War II. While fewer errors have been discovered on this design, collectors seek high-grade examples in MS 67 or better. One example sold at auction for $120 in certified mint state condition. The third coin is the 2019 D War in the Pacific quarter. This one has drawn significant attention for both its striking design and a few key mint errors. A handful of War in the Pacific D mint quarters have been discovered with off-center strikes and die cracks. Coins with dramatic die breaks or retained cut errors can fetch up to $300, particularly in high grade. Now let's talk about one of the most sought after from the 2019 D lineup, the San Antonio Missions quarter. This coin shows symbols representing Spanish colonial missions: wheat, water, a bell tower, and arches. Some collectors have identified unusual strike-through errors and weak edge reading on certain Denver minted examples. In Mint State 68, some have fetched up to $500 at auction. Finally, the 2019 D Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness quarter. This design features a drift boat in the wilderness and soaring birds. It's a favorite among nature lovers and collectors alike. Although fewer error varieties have surfaced, coins with full luster and pristine surfaces graded MS 68 by PCGS or NGC have seen values exceeding $250. So what should you look for in your pocket change? First, grab a magnifying glass or loupe. Examine each design closely for doubling on the text or unusual patterns near the rim. Look for off-center strikes, die breaks, cracks, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. Also, pay close attention to the coin's condition. Coins without any scratches, spots, or wear are much more valuable. Grading can be the difference between a $5 coin and a $500 coin. Now, let's discuss market trends. In recent years, the coin collecting market has seen a resurgence, especially for modern quarters with unique designs or low mintage errors. With more people collecting state and national park quarters, demand for pristine or rare 2019 D coins is rising. That's especially true for certified coins graded MS 67 or above by services like PCGS or NGC. 1 2019 D Lowell quarter, for example, graded MS 67 with a double die obverse sold for $285 at a heritage auction. Another, a San Antonio Missions quarter in Mint State 68, went for over $400. As more errors are discovered, prices could continue climbing to where can you sell these coins if you find one? Your options include online platforms like eBay, trusted coin dealers, auction houses such as Stack's Bowers or Heritage Auctions, or local coin shows. If you believe you found a valuable error or high-grade coin, consider submitting it to a grading service for authentication and certification. That can significantly boost its resale value and buyer confidence. To wrap it all up, 2019 D Washington $quarter coins may look ordinary, but the right coin in the right condition or with the right error can be worth serious money. Whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned numismatist, keep your eyes peeled. Sometimes, treasure really is hiding in plain sight, in your change jar, glove compartment, or coin roll from the bank. If you enjoyed this deep dive into valuable 2019 D quarters, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more coin collecting tips, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Drop a comment below if you found any 2019 D quarters or have a cool error coin story to share. We love hearing from you. Until next time, happy collecting and may your next coin find be a valuable one.